JB, very good to see you. We're doing a little myth busting today, explaining why your 401k is not a retirement plan. Everyone's favorite retirement account, the 401k, is a great way to save, but it is just a tool, not a strategy. So, what are some of the biggest risks of relying on just a tax deferred 401k for retirement?
That's a great question, Aaron. I think it's important. You want to save. You want to definitely get that matching that an employer might give for the
Yeah.
401k. Unfortunately, sometimes they just match in the pre-tax portion, and that's okay. But the 401k is not the only thing that folks should be using for retirement because it really is a ticking tax time bomb.
Hmm.
'Cause we don't know where taxes are going to go in the future.
Right. And beyond that, when we look at our nest egg in that tax deferred account, it might say $1 million, but we're really sharing it with Uncle Sam.
We certainly are. And if you look at today's tax rates, when you take your state and federal taxes, if it's
Mhm.
30%, that $1 million is more like 700,000. But what if tax rates go back to the way they were in the early 80s? That might be
Mhm.
more like 500,000.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you don't want to share more than Uncle Sam deserves or is entitled to.
Right. Exactly. Well said. As you mentioned, they are known as tax time bombs. Beyond just being tax deferred, those required minimum distributions can also push you into a higher tax bracket in retirement.
Absolutely, they can. And Aaron, since the Secure Act 2.0, they've changed the rules on the RMDs several times. And
Yeah.
you need to keep an eye on when you take these RMDs out. You need to keep an eye on where are your taxes. So you may be right at the top of, let's say, the 22% tax bracket. But when you have that required minimum distribution from a pre-tax account, your 401k, 457, 403b, those accounts begin with the number 4, or pre-tax IRAs, they can push you into that higher tax bracket. And a lot of folks don't know about IRMA taxes. If you're on Medicare, it could cause you to have to pay more on your Medicare premiums as well.
Right. That has to be an important consideration. So I think people are going to be watching this video, though, JB, and wondering, why would I want to be paying my taxes now?
So if you pay now at today's rates, we know what we have. This chart is the first time I ever saw it, it blew my mind.
Mm,
You look back to tax rates were as high as 94% during World War II. A lot of people might say, oh, well, that's 80 years ago or so. Well, look at 1981 when Ronald Reagan took office, 69%. That's almost double what our top tax rate is today. So if we go back to anything close to those higher tax rates, anything you take out of those pre-tax accounts, we know we're going to pay taxes, but I really don't want to pay more on taxes than what we're paying now. So you know where the rates are. The current tax code is set to sunset at the end of 2025 if Congress
mhm.
does not renew the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And so we go back to the way they were in 2017, which for most folks means higher taxes, paying more money on earnings, but also on those required minimum distributions when you're in
Mhm.
retirement.
Right. Really good point. So it all comes back to turning your savings into an income stream. What should people be considering in addition to those tax deferred 401ks?
So I think it's very important to have tax diversification.
Hmm.
You look at this chart, you've got tax free, those are things like municipal bonds, Roth IRAs, maybe money that's being withdrawn in the form of a loan from life insurance. You also have your tax deferred, which is like we said earlier, those accounts begin with the number 4, 401ks plus IRAs. Anything that's taxable, you're paying tax on that every single year. So the more that you can move up to the top of the pyramid tax free, the more you have that's tax free, the better for income and for taxes.
And those Roth accounts don't have RMDs.
No, they do not. They do
Yeah.
not have the RMDs. And also, we didn't talk much about the inherited IRAs. When they got rid of that stretch IRA,
Yeah.
it's caused a lot of issues for folks who had pre-tax accounts. But anything that was in the Roth, it's not going to monkey with taxes for
Yeah.
folks.
Really good point. Yeah, those Roth accounts are a great way to create generational wealth. JB, if somebody wants to talk this through to make sure that they are properly tax diversified for their retirement, what's the best way to reach you?
The best way would be to call our office, 803-939-4848, or they can visit us online at beckettfinancialgroup.com there's a contact us link. You can send an email and it goes to hello@beckettfinancialgroup.com.
Great. JB, thank you.
Thank you so much, Aaron.